Bitcoin is rarely used for legal transactions. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because I want to go through a blog post from the European Central Bank about Bitcoin and how they're saying, well, it's Bitcoin's last stand. And there's a few interesting points that they make there. But before we look at that, let's jump over to the coinmarketcap.com, and we can see Bitcoin has recovered a bit. In the last week, it's up 3.5% to $17,139. Ethereum is at $12.88. Tether finally back at $1. BNB is on at $2.96. So yeah, Bitcoin has jumped a little bit, at least recently. But let's have a look at this article because there are a few points they make here. And one that they make a bit further here is Bitcoin is rarely used for legal transactions. Before we go through this, I want to ask, have you ever actually used Bitcoin for a transaction, to actually buy something? Now, I've tried twice in my life. Back in 2018, when I first started mining cryptocurrency and investing in some ICOs, I wanted to buy games with Steam. Remember how they were accepting Bitcoin? And I thought, oh, fantastic. I can mine with my graphics cards and then get free games. That's everyone's dream, you know? But then they stopped accepting it because of the volatility in Bitcoin. That's why. So I missed out on that one. And then a couple of years later, I met a painter and he needed some drafting work. So we did a design for him and I negotiated two rates, one in cash, Australian dollars, and the other in Bitcoin. And of course, it was too hard for him to figure out how to transfer the Bitcoin to me in the wallet. And I gave him a discount for the Bitcoin because I wanted it too. And he didn't want to spend it either. So instead, we just paid normally with cash. So there you go. There were my one attempt to try and get paid in Bitcoin as a business, and the other to try and spend it. Otherwise, I've used cryptocurrencies, moving them around, buying other cryptos, investing in buying, gold-linked cryptocurrencies, all of these type of things. But really, I can completely see how most of it's used or rarely used for legal transactions, and most of it is illegal. And a lot of it is wash trading, just moving around, and people just holding it, hodling it, thinking it's going to be the next big thing. So let's look at this ECB post. So, Bitcoin's last stand. Amid the widespread fallout in cryptocurrency markets following the collapse of major crypto exchanges, the ECB blog takes a look at where we stand with Bitcoin. The value of Bitcoin peaked at $69,000 in November 2021 before falling to US $17,000 by mid-June 2022. Since then, the value has fluctuated around $20,000. For Bitcoin proponents, the seeming stabilization signals a breather on the way to new highs. More likely, however, it is an artificially induced last gasp before the road to irrelevance. And this was already foreseeable before FTX went bust and set the Bitcoin price way below $16,000. Bitcoin is rarely used for legal transactions. Bitcoin was created to overcome the existing monetary and financial system. In 2008, the synonymous Satoshi Nakamoto published the concept. And if you haven't gone through the white paper, I suggest you actually have a look at the Bitcoin white paper. How many people who are claiming all these innovative things and these new tokens? I think most people are just investing in Bitcoin, most normies, because they think it's limited supply and it's an inflation hedge. Well, it certainly isn't an inflation hedge. And one could argue the limited supply argument is bullshit because you can just create another shit coin. Maybe I should make Heise coin, make 1 million of them, and buy one for $1. There you go. Market cap's now $1 million. Maybe I should, just as a joke. Oh, but then I have to buy Ethereum. We'll see. I'll try and do it for Christmas as a gag. Well, I mean, look at Million Token by Tech League that he set up. Complete bullshit. Complete Ponzi. Oh, not even a Ponzi, just a scam. And everyone's just lost money. A social experiment, as he calls it. So, yeah. Anyway, since then, Bitcoin has been marketed as a global decentralized digital currency. However, Bitcoin's conceptual design and technology shortcomings make it questionable as a means of payment. Real Bitcoin transactions are cumbersome. slow, and expensive. 100%. It is such a pain in the ass to use. Even just moving crypto. I mean, I've rarely actually transacted in Bitcoin because the cost is so high. The transaction fees are nuts. And even, moving Ethereum around can get quite expensive. All of this stuff, moving it around. I don't like the idea of paying transaction fees every time I have to move money around. Bitcoin has never been used to any significant extent for legal real-world transactions. I would bet most of it is for the encryption scams. Isn't that why some of the insurance companies actually have Bitcoin, is just to pay those scams to get access to data? In the mid-2010s, the hope that Bitcoin's value would inevitably rise to ever new heights began to dominate the narrative. But Bitcoin is also not suitable as an investment. It does not generate cash flow like real estate or dividends like equities, cannot be used productivity like commodities, or provide social benefits like gold. The market value of Bitcoin is therefore based purely on speculation. And I would argue, well, gold can also do other things as well, but still, I mean, he's right there. Bitcoin, what does it do? How much of these cryptocurrencies are net negative globally, just for the energy that's wasted on these things? Speculative bubbles rely on new money flowing in. Bitcoin has also repeatedly benefited from new waves of new investors. The manipulations by individual exchanges or stablecoin providers during the first waves are well documented, but less so the stabilizing factors after the supposed bursting of the bubble in spring. Big Bitcoin investors have the strongest incentives to keep the euphoria going. Yeah, it really feels like a cult in many ways. And I mean, I guess I'm fortunate in a way. When I got all excited about Bitcoin, it was just with stuff I mined. So I would mine crypto on all my graphics cards, and I'd use that to invest and play with. I think the most I put in was $500. And you see these horror stories like Coinfessions on Twitter where people are putting all of their money in. They're taking mortgages on their homes. They're spending all of the money they have. There's an article in ABC about people who've taken a big chunk of their super and put it into crypto and now can't get to it because the Brisbane, one of the digital exchanges that we looked at went under. So, sorry, they blocked transactions. Anyway, regulation can be misunderstood as approval. Now that's a really interesting point. I don't think we should regulate crypto. I think we should leave it as it is. And if it dies, it dies. If it grows, it grows. Sadly, I think the future of all of this is central bank digital currencies. It's not going to be free libertarian cryptocurrency. Sure, it'll be around. It will never disappear. But it's not going to be useful. Normies won't be adopting it to a large extent. You'll be getting your dollary dues from the central bank. And let's just hope they don't link it to people's GPS locations and mobile phones and then say, oh, your suburb has been well behaved. District 14 has been well behaved. Increased purchasing power for 2 weeks. Oh, someone posted an incorrect post on Facebook. District 14, decreased purchasing power. Now, of course, I'm being facetious. I can't see that happening. But look at what's happened in the last few years. This is the potential risk of this technology that can be abused. So we need to make sure that we scenario the worst case so that we have legislation and mechanisms in place to ensure they don't happen. What do you think? And one aspect of that is to make sure money, physical, old school, boomer money, stays legal. And large transactions with physical, old school money stays legal. That is your protection against all of these other interventions. This is why the cash ban was one of the most important things to fight against the last few years. More important than anything else. So, anyway, large investors also fund lobbyists who push their case with lawmakers and regulators. In the US alone, the number of crypto lobbyists has almost tripled from 115 in 2018 to 320 in 2021. Their names sometimes read like a who's who of US regulators. But lobbying activities need a sounding board to have an impact. Indeed, lawmakers have sometimes facilitated the influx of funds by supporting the supposed merits of Bitcoin and offering regulation that gave the impression that crypto assets are just another asset class. Yet the risk of crypto assets are undisputed among regulators. In July, the Financial Stability Board called for crypto assets and markets to be subject to effective regulation and supervision commensurate with the risks they pose, along the doctrine of same risk, same regulation. Here's the thing. If you regulate the sector, that's going to be a greater cost on all of us. If it's truly this free money removed from everything, let it run. Let it run free. People are going to lose. Well, people will learn. But honestly, there's going to be... I think they will eventually stop the on-ramps and off-ramps to the sector. However, legislation on crypto assets has sometimes been slow to ratify in recent years, and implementation often lags behind. Moreover, the different jurisdictions are not proceeding at the same pace and with the same ambition. While the EU has agreed on a comprehensive regulatory package with the markets in crypto assets regulation, Congress and the federal authorities in the US have not yet been able to agree on coherent rules. The current regulation of cryptocurrencies is partly shaped by misconceptions. The belief that space must be given to innovation at all costs stubbornly persists. Since Bitcoin is based on new technology, DLT/blockchain, it would have a high transformative potential. Firstly, these technologies have so far created limited value for society, no matter how great the expectations for the future. Yeah, I mean, name one cryptocurrency or blockchain project that has actually come to fruition as something useful. That's not a shitty knockoff of something that already exists. Name one, just think about it. We already have other things. It's not anything new or innovative. It's just derivative. So much of it is derivative and a whole bunch of hopium and bullshit put onto it. Maybe this is just because I've seen so many of these projects before. The supposed sanction of regulation has also tempted the conventional financial industry to make it easier for customers to access Bitcoin. This concerns asset managers and payment service providers, as well as insurers and banks. The entry of financial institutions suggests to small investors that investment in Bitcoin are sound. It is also worth noting that the Bitcoin system is an unprecedented polluter. First, it consumes energy on the scale of entire economies. Bitcoin mining is estimated to cost electricity per year comparable to Austria. For what? For nothing. For nothing of any meaning. Oh boy. Second, it produces mountains of hardware waste. One Bitcoin transaction consumes hardware comparable to the hardware of 2 smartphones. Well, that's not that much. The entire Bitcoin system generates as much e-waste as the entire Netherlands. Oh shit, that's a lot. This inefficiency of the system is not a flaw but a feature. It is one of the peculiarities to guarantee the integrity of the completely decentralized system. Promoting Bitcoin bears a reputational risk for banks. Since Bitcoin appears to be neither suitable as a payment system nor as a form of investment, it should be treated as neither in regulatory terms and thus should not be legitimized. Similarly, the financial industry should be wary of the long-term damage of promoting Bitcoin investments, despite short-term profits that they could make even without skin in the game. The negative impact on customer relations and the reputational damage to the entire industry could be enormous once Bitcoin investors will have made further losses. So there we go. This is the ECB's Bitcoin last stand blog post. Let's have a talk about this. Hang on, I gotta bring up my... There we go. So I can't say there's anything there I disagree with. I can't really think of day-to-day transactions people are doing in Bitcoin. I mean, look, what is it, El Salvador? It's a complete failure there. People didn't want it. It was expensive. It was a pain in the ass. It's not going to provide any solutions. I think, if anything, there's a danger that this will lead to more central bank control. And completely against the principles that it was all started with. What do you reckon? It really feels like a cult for a lot of people. I mean, You invest in Bitcoin? Do you think it's the future? Why? You see, all the people that are obsessed, they still think XRP is going to be the next big thing. Why? Why wouldn't they don't have copyright on it. Just take the code from GitHub for another token and use that. Why? How is it not marketing? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old-fashioned. That's why I've been taking any crypto I earn and just treating it like any other income stream and turning it into shares. Let me know what you've been doing. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Check out HeiseBim and HeiseSays International for other topics I discuss. And if you want to help us out, you can financially using our referral links or YouTube or Patreon, buying our pocket squares or calling us if you need an architect. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.